Royal recap. My partner in crime is here with me this week, Maureen Callahan. I had so many requests for you because, as you can imagine, it's a very busy, well, it's been a busy few weeks for Meghan Markle.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into the latest buzz surrounding Meghan Markle, her Hollywood struggles, failed rebrands, and what could be next for the Duchess of Sussex. From Netflix deals falling through to A-list snubs, is Meghan facing a career crisis?
I haven't talked to you, I don't think, since the big as ever reveal, which was so anticlimactic. I guess my first question to you would be, what was your reaction when you saw as ever the way she did it and the way she tried to justify doing it? Like, oh, I've had this since 2022.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, how lovely to hear that you were getting requests for me. I'm so happy to hear that. The rebrand,
Ooh,
to the rebrand, to the rebrand, to the rebrand. All I could think again was how this woman can keep nobody of any quality close to her.
ooh.
The first thing you need when launching a company, I mean, does she watch Shark Tank?
Well, yeah, we know
They,
she does
the
because she
first
says
question
she's a
out of their
dolphin, not a
mouths.
shark. Yeah.
It's always like, do you have a patent? Do you have a patent pending? Do you have this trademarked? Like, you can't rebrand your company of over a year, like 2 weeks before launch.
Mhm.
Like, now it's as ever. What does that even mean? Oh, by the way, why should I ask what this even means? She decided to didactically tell us what as ever means, as if we're all morons
Mhm.
just slopping at the gate, waiting for her jams and preserves. So I was also very gratified to hear that there is, of course, a smaller company manufacturing under that name that has neither the resources nor the wherewithal financially to sue her, but is basically staking their claim publicly that this is yet another bullying moment vis-a-vis our Duchess.
Right. Yeah, and multiple companies. There's also a fast fashion company, which is why she's been told that she's not allowed to sell clothing. Her trademark was denied through the application process when she submitted things like aprons. And I actually am under the impression that she would continue to try, she would still try to do that and see if she could get away with it. But that there's a photography company in Arizona that said, "Hey, the least you could do is throw me a bone. You've taken the name that this 12-year-old name I have that is dedicated to my grandmother who used to sign her, all of her letters as ever." I mean, people with real or meaningful origin stories. And you've got Meghan just popping up going, "Hey, here's my backup. Now believe that this was always my intention." I think one of the issues that people have with her is that well, I've heard you say it. It's the lack of authenticity, but even trying to explain away this, it's my opinion that she popped up to tell us this because she realized that we were already saying it on air, that we were reporting it, because she says something like, "I wanted to be the first to tell you," even though she wasn't. It was already out there. Why can't she just be humble? Why can't she just say, well, I see that it's already out there, so I'm going to go ahead and I'd love to explain this process with you. She had a blog called The Working Hollywood Actress or The Working Actress, and it was anonymous back in the day. This is pre Prince Harry, and I think just lingered into Trevor, when she was with Trevor. But she has cultivated an audience based on building a brand before. So I'm surprised that she's so terrible at it today. And we've seen her be really terrible at it over the last 5 years.
Let's break it all down. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive like this. Meghan Markle entered Hollywood with high hopes after stepping back from royal life, but things haven't exactly gone as planned. Despite initial excitement around her and Prince Harry's Netflix and Spotify deals, Hollywood seems to be turning its back on her.
I would love to, though, see the metrics on either that blog, which you Trevor, and every time you say his name, all I can think of is FedExing the wedding rings
Ooh,
back. The only thing I can think of. Or the TIG, which was, like a third generation Xerox of a wannabe Goop
yeah.
enterprise, frankly. And I think really the issue with her, one of the things that we have heard from a source in the camp close to the launch of the show is that Meghan hasn't really had a chance to show her authentic self. I mean, we've heard this a million freaking times. Hasn't had the chance to show her authentic self, lo, this decade on the global stage.
Yeah.
And this is finally her chance, her millionth iteration. But I think really the problem is she can't show her authentic self because there is no authentic self in there. I don't think this woman knows who she is.
Yeah,
I
like when
think,
Bethany Frankel said she doesn't have an identity, I'm like, the identity is the fact that she's become the ghost of Princess Diana. Am I wrong? Like, the
I mean,
identity is stealing
yeah,
the
I think
royal
that's
brand.
what I think that's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step over
No,
you.
no,
I
no,
think
no.
she's kind of getting at with, one of the things I read, don't know if this is true, you probably know better than I do, that Diana used to sign off many of her letters with as ever. We've read that when she went on her first date with Prince Harry, she wore Diana's favorite perfume.
Yeah,
She was trying to trigger a sense memory, a core memory. All of this stuff just feels really rather ghoulish, and you cannot present an identity to the world as an attempted carbon copy of a global icon who was an icon because she was an original. The
right.
world hadn't seen a royal like Diana before. So this won't work for Meghan. It won't end well.
And Prince Harry, whenever he does sit down with somebody and talk about her, he tells us she is the second coming of Diana, which feels even ickier um, coming from him because you're like, oh no, you bought it. Oh no. I every time I mention it, they don't bring up the picture, but have you seen the pictures of Meghan when this is before she meets Prince Harry and she's doing some of these charity things with the UN, and she's dressed like Diana and posed like her. Have you ever seen that?
Let's talk about the fallout. Spotify dropping their multi-million-dollar deal, the backlash from industry insiders, and why Meghan's entertainment career isn't taking off as she expected. Could it be bad PR, lack of audience interest, or just poor strategic moves? Since leaving the royal family, Meghan has attempted multiple rebrands. First, there was the humanitarian and activist approach. Then came the luxury brand rumors and lifestyle influencer attempts.
I don't think I've seen
Oh my
those.
gosh, let me look it up. Meghan Markle pose like Diana. They never, I doubt that they own the rights to the pictures or something. So I found a hack. Okay. I'm just going to
Okay.
show you over Zoom. Because to me, it is so appalling the way that she has her hands on her hips. Um, charity trip. It's pretty. And then I don't know. Let's talk about the Northwestern shirt because this is not the Northwestern sweatshirt that Meghan was seen in this week on Instagram. First of all, I'd like your reaction to if you believe it was intentional. And second of all, I have seen the arguments that she went to school there, fair, but this is a short shirt that you can get at Nordstrom right now. It's not like Meghan got this back in her old college days
At
and
the campus bookstore.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This is something Meghan bought it or somebody gifted her because it was a Diana like a staple. What is your opinion on that?
Well, listen, in the run up to this show, and she also apparently posted on Instagram herself like frolicking in her garden. Again,
Hmm.
perfect tone for a state that has been ravaged by wildfires. We're all so happy Meghan can frolic in her garden.
Yeah.
There's nothing she's doing that is not extremely well thought out. Everything with her is strategic. And the Northwestern t-shirt, I believe, is an absolute callback reference to Think of Me as Diana 2.0. It reminds me really of the last season of Industry on HBO. For those of your audience members who watched, there was a character in that show. They were dressing as Diana. She was dressing as Diana for Halloween. There were all of these really smart, like wardrobe style references to Diana, and it was all meant to tell us things were not going to end well for this woman. You know what I
Ooh,
mean? And so
yeah.
I don't think Meghan has really thought this through.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you have here's the picture. Maybe
Oh my Lord. Oh
yeah.
My
It's
Lord.
so crazy, right? I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they're always complaining about the negative attention she receives and the all of the mean press. But perhaps
Yet none of them seemed to be working. Even her Archetypes podcast, which had a strong start, was ultimately canceled. And now, reports suggest that top Hollywood agents and executives aren't exactly rushing to sign her for new projects. Is Meghan struggling to find an identity post-royalty? What do you think?
them pushing that narrative attracts some of that negativity, and they just are oblivious to it. They just, because in Prince Harry's mind she is just this martyr, and I love Diana, but she's also the same woman that called her boyfriend who had a wife 300 times and hung up on him and the police investigated it. I love her, but she was not perfect. And I mean, just amazing the way that she worked the media. She was incredible in the way that she inevitably figured out how to navigate the media and have them on her side. But I think that they don't realize that they could be attracting a lot of negativity by making that their sole focus. Have your own identity. Yeah, to me, it's just creepy. I think I've told you this, that a friend of mine told me that one of the York girls overheard Meghan say to Prince Harry at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee that while she was doing yoga that morning, the ghost of Diana spoke to her and told her she was really glad that they were there.
I've heard something similar from a
Like,
source that Meghan has articulated openly that she believes she was put on this earth to be the second coming of Princess Diana.
well, yeah,
So
she even says in the Tom Quinn book, I want to finish what Diana started. And it's like, I'm not, I'm, I will appreciate it if you tell me I'm giving her too much credit. I will understand. But she, with the help of Thomas Markle, had accomplished a lot on her own. I would have said you're a self-made person. You were an influencer before it was a word. Just be your own damn thing. It's so desperate. It reeks of desperation that anybody, I think, with a brain cell is turned off by it.
When Meghan and Harry first stepped away from royal duties, they were a power couple with huge public interest. But now, cracks are showing. Rumors of Harry feeling homesick, tension over career decisions, and even whispers that Meghan might pursue solo projects without him. Could the Sussex brand be losing its appeal? And more importantly, does Meghan need Harry to stay relevant in the industry?
I mean, there are several things you touched on that I think are absolutely valid. Number one, she's here to finish what Diana started. Okay, I don't think Diana's dream in 2025 would be to have a Netflix show about hosting. I think her ambitions would be far larger than that.
Freezing ice. Yeah.
Number two, I think victimhood is their kink. I
Mm.
think the two of them love it. I think they get off on it. I think that they conveniently ignore that among Diana's closest relationships were with editors and writers in the media trying to direct and manipulate her own tabloid coverage. Andrew Morton, who she was smuggling into Kensington Palace in the boot of a car, or whoever was delivering that recording device so she could get her story out in a
Yeah.
memoir that she claimed had nothing to do with, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, and I do think you're giving Meghan a little too much credit because I don't really think she was an influencer. She was like number six on a call sheet on a basic cable show. I am relishing all of these heavy promos NBC is doing for Suits LA.
By the way, I know everybody says they hate it. I freaking loved it. I loved, loved, loved it. I hated the original Suits though. So maybe that's why it's just so different from the original Suits.
I've never seen the original Suits and I love a procedural. I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
But, it's clear that NBC is throwing the building behind this and that there is not a single reference to Meghan Markle. It has to sting. It
Well, I
just
think she's
has
going
to
to
sting.
try to be. Like, I talked to somebody else who said, "Oh no, it's beneath her." I think she will try to be on it in some way, shape, or form because it's very Hollywood. I guess the other Suits, it was boring to me. It just wasn't of interest to me. But on this Suits, they'll be like sitting at dinner, and somebody will be like, "Is that George Clooney?" Like it's just very LA. I mean, of course, it's Suits LA, but it's entertainment based. It's actresses coming in saying, "I want this much for a picture." Are you telling me that Meghan Markle is not going to try to claw her way onto some sort of into some sort of cameo, because I feel like based on the content and based on it sincerely being good, I feel like she will try to have some sort of presence there. And they've said, absolutely, yeah, we'd love to have her. But I'd also argue, wouldn't they look like dicks if they said no way? Of course, there's a microphone in their face. Of course, they're going to be like, yeah, she was great. It's not like we weren't writing her off before she met Prince Harry, trying to phase her out of the last one.
Hit that like button if you think their dynamic has changed. So where does Meghan go from here? There are talks of a Hollywood comeback, a potential book deal, and even a return to acting. But can she win back Hollywood after so many setbacks? Some experts say she might pivot toward producing or even politics.
I just also think the actual real mark of affection for her would be referencing her character. Like
Mm.
she wouldn't even have to show up. I mean, this is kind of a deep cut, but it's kind of the way when George Clooney left ER to go become a movie star. They would always reference Doug Ross, his character, and it was clear that like the producers still really had great affection for him. And I think that radio silence from the Suits cohort basically says everything we need to know. This woman is radioactive. They don't like her. They are very happy to leave her well behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, somebody that I imagine was happy to leave her well behind was Jason Knopf, who surprised a lot of us by sitting down with 60 Minutes Australia last week. And, I'm firmly in the camp that this was something that was approved by the Prince and Princess of Wales. Odd timing for a big interview like this. Within a day, it had over 1 million views on YouTube alone. Could that potentially have been somebody going, oh, Meghan's got a new show coming out? Yeah, sure, let's disrupt. I love that idea. I'm not sure if it's true. But Jason Knopf does sit down with them. He's very positive when it comes to his experience working with Prince William and Catherine, and talking about what a great king he's going to be someday, and talking about how the lowest he's ever seen Prince William was after Princess Catherine's diagnosis. I mean, a lot of details that I would have never anticipated to hear from somebody who's pretty much by the book. But he also says, yeah, I worked with Harry and Meghan. I wish their young family well. A very PC reaction to some of the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry comments. But I thought what was very telling was this idea that despite all of the negative backlash he received, because remember in the Harry and Meghan series, Meghan is critical of him. You get the sense that Jason Knopf is a bad guy in that scene where she's aggravated with Prince Harry that Prince William has given Jason Knopf permission to give evidence against her with one of her cases. He says, I have no regrets. Are you surprised that he would say that? And B, have you seen any of it? And what did you feel like his posture was during those questions? I thought he felt he handled himself very well.
Could Meghan reinvent herself yet again and finally find a lane that works? Let's talk predictions. Where do you see Meghan's career heading? Comment below. So, there you have it. Meghan Markle's career crossroads laid out. From Hollywood rejection to struggling rebrands, she's definitely facing challenges. But is this the end, or could she still turn things around? Make sure to subscribe for more deep dives, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.